Are you ready to transform yourself and your organization real time? The data shows that before you can transform your organization, you have to transform yourself as a leader. According to a study, 90% of CEOs said that if you want to change your organization, you have to change yourself first. And I'm going to share two core elements to that transformation today. The first thing is one of the biggest challenges that most leaders have is changing their instincts, the habits, what I call the default future. It's how they've made decisions for decades and they continue to make decisions the same way. The problem is the challenges and the issues are very different and require a different response. So just because those decisions served you well in the past certainly does not guarantee that they're going to serve you well in the future. These instinctive choices often come from our subconscious, different patterns, biases, things that we've experienced in our life, which is very natural. Those decisions could work well in stable, predictable environments, but in today's workplace, there's anything but predictability. To overcome these instinctive choices, we need to be aware of them and consciously choose to act differently. We need to operate with a purpose, not on autopilot. The second element to help you transform yourself as a leader is using a very simple framework. And this framework was developed by the authors of Real-Time Leadership, which is a fantastic book. I highly recommend it, by David Noble and Carol Kaufman. I like the framework because it's very simple. I can do simple. The framework consists of 3 dimensions, and these dimensions will help you with any challenge that you may face. The 3 dimensions are external, internal, and interpersonal. External are goals and aspirations for achievement or potentially other competitive pressures. They're ultimately related to the outcomes that you want. Internal are the challenges and the goals that are related to yourself personally, your values, your standards. And this obviously includes emotional regulation. And the last one is the interpersonal side. This is the impact and the influence that you have on others. Their challenges, their goals, you're centered on helping them achieve those. So to apply this simple framework, you just have to ask 3 questions. Number 1, what does a win look like? So if you have a particular goal or challenge that you're trying to achieve, what does a win look like for you? Number 2, am I being the person that I want to be? This obviously is coming from the internal portion of the framework. Do you have the right attitude? Do you have the right outlook? How are you emotionally handling the situation currently? And number 3, am I leading the way that others need me to lead? This is coming from the interpersonal side. And honestly, if you take a look at these 3 areas, the external, the internal, and the interpersonal, and ask these key questions, it will give you a ton of insight as you start thinking about the challenges ahead. So make sure you skip all of the old way of thinking and naturally, I know how to solve this because I had this problem 5 years ago or 10 years ago, or worse, 20 years ago, because those problems require a different solution today because the people are different. The expectations are different. So as an example, I want to build this YouTube channel. I've got about 100 subscribers. I want to get to 2,000 subscribers this year. So my external high stakes goal is I need to capture 1,900 additional subscribers. My internal goal is to make sure that I do it within the areas in my career of which I'm passionate, which is clearly leadership and personal development. Number 3, which is the interpersonal portion, am I providing the greatest value that I can to others? Is my content resonating with things that are changing in the workplace? And so by asking yourself these 3 questions around the 3 areas of the second dimension in this framework, it's really simple to transform yourself because now you're looking at your outward goals, you're looking at inward at your passion and your purpose and the meaning that you have, and then how does that connect with others? Are you providing them value that they want? And that's an important part of this because we used to just make decisions based on whatever we thought the best outcome would be. Now we have to take into account the people that these decisions are going to impact because they have very different expectations than they had years ago. So as you go thinking about this simple framework, it's easy to transform yourself by following this framework, and then that will allow you to take on the organizational challenges that are ahead. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like, comment, and share, where all things are going to be leadership or personal development.